Trump cutting the Department of Education, kind of a big deal. He's signing the executive order today to cut the Department of Education, which has spent trillions of U.S. American tax dollars, trillions. And our students and our nation's students' test scores have only gone down. Mm-hmm. What is your initial reaction to this, Melonie? He wants to give people basically national school choice again. Like you can send your kids to faith-based school, you can send your kids to, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
What do you make of the Department of Education shutdown?
Well, I mean, I'm as someone who was homeschooled, I think people need to homeschool more. Because this is the thing, is like public school has become, well, I mean, it's kind of always been really an indoctrination camp for children. And I think that, if possible anyway, I mean, children need to be able to be children. And it's already kind of like training them to have an 8-hour workday and stuff, like ever since they're that little. And it's like, yeah, I was homeschooled. My brothers were homeschooled. We had like our 3 hours of school a day, and then we got to enjoy the rest of the day. And we were also ahead of the curve academically. So it was like, we got to have like a really fun childhood with family, spent every single day with our mom, who was staying at home and raising us. And I think that was a wonderful thing. So I do think that homeschooling should be encouraged more, obviously, if it can be done right. I know it's easier said than done with how running a household right now. And now it's a lot more difficult to have, the mom stay at home and the dad to be able to fully provide, given how like economically things are right now. But I mean, I do think more people need to be looking into homeschooling, or at least just be very choosy and careful about what school that your children are going to, because the kids are just getting indoctrinated. Look at all the gay stuff that was going on, all that LGBT stuff, and what that was doing to the youth. I think that children shouldn't even be on the internet until they're at least 16, if not 18. It's just, the corruption is unreal. So yeah,
nothing good comes from it.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? The one thing I wish that he had carved out in his talks about the closing this down was not giving homeschool credits. I really wish he would have also provided some level of credit for homeschoolers, because they need it. Like, look, I don't even have any kids, and I pay that tax, and it really grinds my gears.
Yep.
But like, if a parent is going to choose to homeschool their kid, I already pay the tax, and I would still be fine with them getting some sort of credit.
Right.
What do you think, Luke?
The Department of Education is a criminal organization based off the founding principles of David Rockefeller that was trying to make good factory slave workers. It's an outdated, unaccountable system that has created so much harm to our children. It needs to be absolutely eviscerated, destroyed, and gotten rid of. Thank goodness Donald Trump is doing this, but he needs more than just an executive order. Now, I know a bunch of people are getting invited to the signing of this executive order. Christopher Rufo is going to be there. Chaya Raichik of Libs of TikTok is going to be there. But Congressman Thomas Macy just proposed H.R. 899, and a bill that would officially abolish the Department of Education. All we need is 51 senators to back him. I think we could do this. I think we need to do this. I think Trump needs to codify, while he still has the Congress and the Senate, to pass this legislation. He needs to pass legislation instead of just signing these executive orders that could be interpreted by judges. As a judge recently ruled, all the cuts that they did to USAID, those are, quote, unconstitutional, and then USAID needs to be brought back. That's what a judge just ruled. The Supreme Court isn't in favor with Trump. There's one conservative Supreme Court justice that really doesn't like Trump, and she's ruling against him. So again, stop with the executive orders. I mean, it's great. Do it. Sure. Set the precedent and then do as many as you could, but match it with judicial action. Have this pass in the House, have this pass in the Senate. Let's get this into law, and let's truly take advantage of the majority that we have right now. This is of key utmost importance. And I agree with you. Get rid of all this property tax nonsense. Public schools are a burden on our society. They are failed institutions. And once we stop taxing people and taking their money away, their money could be spent well better than what the government is doing with these slave camps, indoctrination camps.
Well, isn't
I
it
like
also?
it.
Yeah, I think that there's also an element to this that not a lot of people are talking about that I really like, and that's the fact that it brings accountability. Where like right now, our schools are pretty terrible. We're not even in the top 10 in the world.
Right.
And what do you even do about it, right? You can't, you can't, there's not a lot you can do about it. But if you kick it back to the states, now you can make governors and state representatives run on what they're going to do about the test scores, how they're going to fix the schools, what they're going to do with, this or that. Whereas right now, when you have bad schools, all you can really do is go outside and shake your fist angrily at a cloud because there's really nobody to talk to. And like anytime you try to like go down that road, people are just going to say, they're just going to kick the can down the road and they're going to say, oh, well, the Department of Education handles that. Let's not also forget the Department of Education is behind a lot of this gender ideology in the classroom nonsense. They're behind this drag story time hour. They're behind, all of this nonsense. The Department of Education funds hundreds of millions of dollars for like gender ideology stuff that, the entire system is corrupt. Like the entire system is all about exclusively indoctrinating our kids. So I just think this, and by the way, anybody who's out there who gets in an argument with somebody about this, just print out the chart of our nation's test scores versus the time that that the Department of Education has existed. Like there is simply no the test scores aren't improving. So what are we spending $1 trillion on? It makes no sense. What do you think the fallout of this is going to be, Melonie?
Oh man. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, people are going to be liberated. People are going to be freed of this nonsense that they had to comply with. I mean, these were just edicts by the federal government. Each state has their own unique problems that they're dealing with. And to ever think that we're going to have a top-down kind of solution to a nationwide problem that all of us are dealing with is idiotic and stupid. All right. This whole Department of Education, it's an oxymoron. All right, we need a department
of de-education.
Leave me the hell alone.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
don't tax me.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think at the end of the day, when kids are in public school, like the government is raising these kids and they're indoctrinating them with what they want to indoctrinate them with. So like I can sympathize with parents who don't have a lot of solutions to that. But at the end of the day, I think if at all possible, take matters into your own hands, homeschool your kids, or at least put them into a trusted private school. I mean, if you can find one, but homeschool is a way.
Yeah. Do you feel like you missed out on anything being in homeschool anyway, other than like the clap or chlamydia or whatever?
It was just like maybe some social events and stuff. But at the end of the day, we went to like homeschool events. There were local homeschool events. We were friends with local homeschool kids. So had a great upbringing, and if I could go back, I would want to do it that way all over again. My brothers are my best friends. We spent every single day just hanging out together, playing outside. We had our school time, which wasn't 8 hours a day. It was only like 3 hours a day. And we did our yearly testing and we were always ahead. So we got a good education, and starting college was just a seamless process. And yeah, we got to spend a bunch of time just being kids, having fun, just a lot of time with family, other homeschool kids, and it was great.